Hello, this is Greg Allison Green Griggs coming to you on 27 July 22. Time on deck is 2300 hours Central Daylight Time. Friends, we're going to talk about this battle for Kherson in Ukraine and why that matters. We're going to talk about Ukraine a little bit in general, why the war there matters to our situation right here in the United States and around the world, how it's affecting us all. And, you know, we can always speculate about the things that may come of it. That's a pretty popular topic, but I'm not going to stay on that too long. We're going to just mainly look at what is and why it's important, which includes some of that. And I'm going to also point out something to do with Pakistan and just kind of a world food situation. But guys, buckle up, guys, because if you're not prepping, you need to be. That's why I'm covering this, guys. It's part of my eyes wide open and head on a swivel series here, so you'll know to be aware of what's coming. Does this preposition my channel to help you survive, thrive, and stay out of the hive? And with that in mind, if you're not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe, bang the notification bell, and click all. And by the way, you need to be prepping. You need to be getting ready. Hey, go to the grocery store, go to the big box store, buy those dried beans and rice, and store them away as best you can. You better get the Mylar bags while you can. They're about to be totally unavailable. But that's what's happening, guys. But what's happening in the food world is just unbelievable. Despite all the food shortages we got, what's happening in Europe, they're making things worse. And I'm hearing the same kind of things in Canada. They're trying to regulate the farmers at the worst possible time. Why would you pick this year now to try to push all this stuff when we're looking at huge food shortages? And just walking around since it don't make sense. But then again, we're not talking about walking around since, are we? We're talking about a set of reef, you know what I mean? Anyway, this is why you need to be growing your own garden. Go to Tree Leaf Market. You got the link below that. But also, you need to prep. You need to stock up. I do have a special deal, guys, right now. $150 off. 3-month supply. It lasts 25 years. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. 2,000 calories a day. Make you a winner, guys. And you can shop around and get other meal choices there, too, if you have special needs. So, guys, this is good food because it is easy to bug out with. It's lightweight. It's easy to store. You can bury it really easily. You can because the bucket is sealed and so the pouches in it. It's easy to carry in your backpack. And pouches are. So consider it prepwithgreg.com, and you get $50 off of a 1-month supply, which is 2 of those buckets. Okay, let's get with it here. We're going to talk about Ukraine. Now, you might remember about a month ago, maybe, I did a video talking about America being great. Obviously, 4th of July, type video. So I guess it wasn't a month ago, but talking about things that we had going in our favor here in America. And just geographically, one of the great things in the favor of North America, I talked about other things, geopolitically, our love of freedom, things like that. But geographically, one of the best things for America is that we are, self-sufficient in minerals and grains. We've got this huge heartland in America that is connected by this one ginormous river system that can bring all the grain and a lot of raw materials and things, factory produce, all down the Mississippi River, right out the country. We have a huge service from that watershed. The Ohio River, the Missouri River, just all over the place, even down into the Tennessee River south of me. Now, there's other rivers in America that find their way to the ocean by different routes, like the Gulf of Mobile, but we got it connected in by canals to the Mississippi now. So it's a huge watershed, a huge economic driver in America for good. Ukraine's got that too, or had it, in a minuscule format, because you got the Dnieper River right down the center of the country, right in the middle of their breadbasket, right through a lot of the industrial areas. So you got a problem there. Russians have crossed the southern part of it in the city of Kherson, and Ukraine is trying to take Kherson back. And Kherson is important to Russia. Let me show you these things. We'll show you why this battle matters. Why right now it seems to be going in favor of Ukraine, but it may not stay that way. So we're going to talk about this. I'm going to talk a little bit of some other things to do with Russia. So I'm going to do a share. And we're going to start from Google Earth here first. I'll just kind of clean, don't show all the battle stuff. As the other map. This is the Dnieper River, huge river right through the center of Ukraine, pretty much. It was a little bit to the eastern side. And also would seemingly make a good barrier to keep the Russians out of this side as they advance over here, as they've done so much. But Russians have crossed right here in the area of Kherson. Crossing to come out of Crimea, so that was an early crossing. So that does a couple of things. Let's go ahead and have a look at it. Maps that show it. There it is. This is the city of Kherson. This city is occupied by Russia. It is on the west bank of the Dnieper River. Now, with the Russians occupying this city, how are the Ukrainians to have shipments of anything down this river without being shot at, sunk, or totally under the controls of the Russians? Matter of fact, how they have problems with Russia being on either side of the river, especially both sides. Russia's dominated both sides of this river. It puts the Ukrainians under a lot of pressure. It cuts down their free ability to trade or even conduct military affairs in that river, because the bottom of it is on both sides by Russia. Moreover, it gives Russia a crossing over this river, which is a natural barrier against their forces. As you know, Russia wants to come over here and take Odessa, which is the only really free port that Ukraine has. Back over to the national boundaries here. But we got Moldova over here with Transnistria that they want to take. Okay, the boundaries aren't showing. I don't know what it is to stick about. I'm to show sometimes about. Well, we'll go over to another map here. We'll look at it from the political land and the fighting and the war. All right, here we are. This is Transnistria. This is a breakaway part of Moldova that wants to be Russian. Greg, why do they want to be Russian? They're way away from Russia, way from Moldova. Well, Russia back during the Soviet era made sure to put ethnic Russians in just about every republic that was in their system to try to, have some means of control there to try to flip the population. They took people out of these republics, sent them to places in Russia, Siberia especially. So that's why you got this fiercely pro-Russian area right here. And they want to be united with Russia Prime. Well, for Russia, that means they need to cross all this land to take it. And so that means that they need to stay on the west side of the river and push on and probably take Odessa. Of course, what's that do? It totally cuts Ukraine off from any water transport. Totally cuts Ukraine off from the Black Sea, from the ocean. Pardon me, I still got COVID. Anyway, so this is why this matters. It matters to Russia to take Transnistria and also dominate Ukraine. And it matters to Ukraine to have free access to the sea. So this is why this is a contested area. This is why Ukraine wants it back. So if we come back in here, zoom in a little bit, we can see, that the Ukrainians bombed. Well, that's a different bombing. Yesterday it was talking about the bombing of the bridge. So this is a police car. Here's some video of some troops on the move, some Ukrainian troops. I've seen that. And it's nothing spectacular, just guys marching. And so, this is Kherson right here. Kherson is in this area right here. And there's a lot of action right here because of Ukraine trying to take this back. Ukrainian military conducted missile strike at railway bridge at Kherson. So they've hit the other bridge at the railway bridge. What they're trying to do is to cut off the Russians' means for getting reinforcement of the troops in Kherson and their means of evacuation. They won't either force those guys to surrender or fight to their death. So it's not a pretty picture in there. So the Russians in Kherson are they're not looking good because Ukraine's been making advances here. Ukraine's been gaining ground in this area. If you come back over here, Luhansk, pretty much Russia got Luhansk. They're still trying to take Donbass, Donetsk. They hadn't taken all of Donetsk. And you can see the fighting is real heavy along these borders here. And most of this is bombing by the Russians here. This is Russian army shelled areas. Yeah, so this is mostly Russian shelling where their artillery. Now the HIMARS have had a big effect of cutting this down because it's been hitting, striking the ammo depots behind where Russia's been storing their utility. Russia's been very reliant on rail. They rely on rail to get their goods into the battlefield, and they don't even have forklifts. All the guys are unloading the train cars, stacking ammunition in the warehouses, and the ammo dumps are doing it by hand. So they're stacking and unstacking all this ammunition by hand. It makes it slow. That's why they're very susceptible to those strikes by those HIMARS. So it has cut the artillery warfare from the Russian side down quite a bit. But that doesn't mean it isn't still going on. So Russia's had kind of a grind in advance still going in these areas here. Slow, grinding. But, a lot of people, you see different fog of war reports a lot of different things. And it includes things like either side's winning, according to who you listen to. Both are winning according to their own propaganda. So that's what you hear. Both sides are winning. Well, not really. Now, Ukraine's doing pretty good for right now in this conflict, you might say, but look how much of the territory has already been conquered in just a few short months. It's quite possible that Russia could take more. Now, it's been claimed that Russia's putting 85% of their troops in the battle. But it's also claimed that Russia is not using their main forces to fight in Ukraine. I saw an article today that claimed that they're holding back the major parts of their air power for engagement with NATO nations, which would imply they plan to go beyond Ukraine. And that would imply a war with NATO nations, implies something smacking of World War III. I'm talking about Poland, or they're talking about the Baltic republics. Moldova is not a NATO nation. So what are they planning to do? I told you that they really want to get here and fill these gaps. Talked about that many times. So why does this matter? Let's just kind of back off and stop the share here for a minute. Why does this matter? Well, for one, Russia is actually cutting down fuel going through the east, that Nord Stream 2 pipeline to Germany. They decided to cut that spigot down to 20%, and they may cut it down more because they're trying to get Germany to capitulate. They're trying to get Germany to break loose from the rest of the Western nations because Germany's economy is very reliant on those energy sources. And so Russia's trying to split the alliance. Now, the downside of that is if Russia leaves that on at that state too long, it won't take long at all, to be honest. Their wellheads are permafrost. If that fluid's not flowing, a lot of those wellheads are going to bust, crack, damage, and they're not going to be back online, maybe ever, because frankly, Russians just don't have the expertise. That stuff was fixed, and when the Berlin Wall fell, Russia fell. When Russia fell apart originally, that stuff was went in and fixed by Western petroleum companies, Western people, Western brain power went in and fixed all those pipelines. They're not coming back. They're not going back in again. So a lot of Russian oil might be permanently offline in the not too distant future, especially this wintertime, as they use oil as a bargaining chip for warfare. And this is increasing the price of energy. Right now, we've got a little bit of demand destruction in the United States. Price of gas is falling a little bit, but this is going to increase the price of gas, and it is already increasing the price of gas and energy in Europe. And as we already know, A lot of the fertilizers are coming out of Russia, and those have been cut back considerably. So fertilizer costs in the United States and other countries are 3 times higher, and farmers are not fertilizing as much. And on top of that, countries like Canada and all these European countries, the farmers are suddenly being told, oh, you got to cut back on your fertilizers. It's bad for the environment. Well, of all years to do this year, really, when we're going to be facing huge food shortages, where's this coming from? Yeah, sounds like some Klaus scheme. Anyway, so why does this matter? Because of food, because of fuel, and World War III. We could well see ourselves in a World War III, even though Ukraine may get back Kherson, and may push the Russians back a little bit. And when you look at a war of attrition, the wars of attrition are won by the side that's got the most stuff to attrit. That's Russia. They're willing to stay in it for the long haul. They can take Ukraine if they're willing to stay in it for the long haul. And a lot of people claim that they are. So we'll see. Is that going to put them in contact with NATO? You got all kind of armchair pundits out there claiming everything. Oh no, it ain't going to happen. No, they're not going to take them to NATO. But they also said that Russia wasn't going into Ukraine either. So yet you get a lot of people from Russia talking about taking on Ukraine. So or NATO. So we have the potential for World War III. Russia may need an edge. That edge might be their combat tactical nukes. In order to alert you ahead, they might decide to use them as an edge to gain an upper hand in Ukraine. I think they would do so judiciously because they really don't want to mess up their pipelines. But over time, this war is bound to take tolls on those pipelines going through Ukraine, which will also take toll on the wellheads back up in the permafrost. So we're going to get out of jail free card here. That's why this matters. Now, I'm going to show you a couple other things, guys, just kind of broaden the perspective of what might come. You've heard me talking about Iran. You've heard us talk about North Korea. There's something else to think about here. Sure. People in Pakistan are hungry. This is one of the problems with all this world hunger going right now. It's going to stabilize countries. The 90 million people going hungry is Pakistan already on the path to become the next Sri Lanka. What happened in Sri Lanka? People rose up and overthrew the government. But then again, they took some other WWIII stooge and put them in power. But this is particularly concerning when it comes to Pakistan, because Pakistan is a nuclear nation. Pakistan has a large number of nukes. Some maybe a couple hundred. And to the north of Pakistan is a freshly equipped army, equipped by all the equipment we left behind in Afghanistan. So the Afghans have got a lot of equipment. They might be in position to pounce down into Pakistan, which are already tight with, and scoop up some of those nukes. And they've also had a history of supporting terrorism. So what could happen with Afghanistan? Could Afghanistan sweep in and grab some of these? And what would that mean? And what would be the relationships between India and Pakistan? Are we looking at a potential nuclear war there? I don't know, guys. I don't know. But also, you might know, I mentioned that President Putin of Russia went to Iran. Some people claim this is body double to buy drones, and Iran's agreed to sell them drones. Not only Iran, but Putin's trying to get Turkey to sell them that Bayraktar drone, the same ones that they've been selling to Ukraine, and Turkey's thinking about it. And the drones from Iran, everybody says, "Oh, Iran's nobody. Iran's just a backwards country." Well, before you get to thinking that, you need to have a look at what the Iranians actually have. The Iranians were able to hijack, by electronic means, commandeer one of our most sophisticated drones that was flying over back in 2011, December 5th, 2011. It was a Lockheed Martin RQ-170 Sentinel unmanned aerial vehicle. This was one of our most advanced. The Iranians hacked it and flew it to their airstrip. They took it from us and they back engineered it. And now they're making them in mass. And apparently, and reportedly, they've actually improved on it. Iranian built copy, the RQ-170. This is what they're selling to the Russians. These are some serious drones, my friends. Serious capabilities. So this is no little fly-by-night drone by any means. And I told you many times, the Iranians, the Persian people, are extremely intelligent. So don't cut them short in that regard. Smart enough to hack our drone, land it, and copy it. They've got nukes. They want satellites. Don't short shift the Iranians. So, and then the other thing about this is, since they are selling these drones to Russia, that could give Russia an edge in the war in Ukraine. Also, will get them around some of the technology limitations. Apparently, they've already got chipsets. Oh, yeah. Some of the drones that the Ukrainians have shot down have been claimed to be just full of chips that have went to Russia even after the embargoes went into force. So Russia's still getting chips from the United States put in drones for use in Ukraine. So this is happening in the United States and other areas. So yeah, don't sell the Russian short. Don't sell the Iranian short in these areas. Still more formidable than you might think. And these drones could make a big difference. But here's the biggest difference. We're already out there on the verge, on the very verge of war with Iran. The Israeli prime minister has basically said that he's about ready to go. Problem is, I'm seeing articles are saying, hey, if they do go, now that they're up to the higher level enrichment with their nuclear fuels or their uranium, they can do that much smaller facilities hidden away in deeper tunnels all over the place. And it will never catch or bomb out all the facilities that are using in the program today that we just can't get it all anymore. So they'll still continue to advance. So you may be too late. That don't stop Israel. Israel's still talking about possibly putting a hit on Iran. So there's your war. And Iran, maybe you're looking for Russian coverage should they get in war with the West. Maybe part of the deal with the drones. Well, that's what they give up something so precious to them they might need in the war with the West. They're looking for something back from Russia. So watch out, guys. So I better have your eyes wide open and head on a swivel because we don't know where it's coming from. But the whole world's getting things like North Korea, Iran, Russia. And finally, one last thing. Helen of Troy was the face that launched 1,000 ships. So can you imagine the face of Pelosi being the face that launches World War III? Just maybe. Nancy Pelosi. Kind of got herself put up as a pawn now in this game of chicken between the United States and China. China is saying, do not send her. If you do, there's going to be consequences. And they've said basically military consequences. But on the other hand, if we back down, we're going to look weak. So the United States is kind of caught in this Mexican standoff with China. Good chance they're going to send Pelosi anyway. But once they do, now Xi Jinping's got to save face after making all the claims he's made. So he may well take some kind of military action. There you have it. Face that launched World War III. Not quite Helen of Troy. Wow. That's something. Anyway, guys, keep your eyes wide open and head on a swivel. Be aware, but be prepared, not scared. I don't teach fear on here. I just let you know what's going on, so you'll know to prepare. Once you're prepared, you're not as be scared. You get as much done as you can do. If it comes what may at that time. Try to take care of your friends, your family. none of your family. And then I'm going to say, thank y'all for watching. Greg out.